Alright, hello everybody. My name's Alan Gallego, and today we're going to take a look at one part of Max MSP that I used in order to create my project 3, which was the ASL poem video to create randomized MIDI notes. So if we take a look here, zoomed in a little weird area. So this is a basic note randomizer that I've set up here already. This is your basic switch. Right here, I will get to what that is in a second. Here is our metronome, which tells us how long we want each note to, send notes. Our actual randomizer right here. Our selection, our number values, which are the notes which will be played, and our MIDI controls right here. So if I hit play here, gotta operate. So now we have note randomization. If I hook that up there, it should change the note durations. There we go. So this is just a note randomizer, and you can choose any notes here that you wanted to use. For example, this one I believe is a pentatonic scale. 1, 2, 2, 4, 3. Yeah, pentatonic scale, major pentatonic. So if we want to break this down on how to create this in Max MSP, first what we're going to do is we're going to create this switch here, which can be done by pressing T, which is a toggle on or off, which basically powers our randomizer here. Next up, we're going to create an object by double-clicking or clicking N, which is our metronome object, which outputs a bang message at regular intervals. The interval that we have chosen earlier was 200 milliseconds. We're going to do 500 milliseconds right now, just for rounding purposes. So our metronome is not beats per minute, but rather milliseconds. Next up, we are going to create the random aspect of this. So if we create another object by double-clicking or pressing N, I'm going to go random, which generates a random number. Let's go 2 for right now. Now, one thing to remember is that computers include 0 as an integer. So this, instead of being 1 and 2, would be 0 and 1. It does not include 2. Alright, let's connect all these. Next up is our select object. And if this takes the randomization, so 0 or 1, and takes that into different pathways that we can use to create our different note outputs here. So if I'm remembering correctly, here's I. Oh, no, that's not right. Messages float. Nope, that was right. There we go. So we got our message set up. And so right now, our major pentatonic scale is starting on what I believe is C. So we'll go ahead and take that and line that up there. Bang if input matches 0, so we'll set up 60 as 0. And we'll go ahead with 67, which is a perfect fifth up, 7 semitones. So each one of these is a semitone. So we have between 60 and 67. The next part is our make note object, which is what actually creates the MIDI data that we're hearing. And there are 3 aspects to this, 2 of which are very, very important, and 1 of which is almost always 1. So first up is your velocity, which I normally set to 120. That has a max of 127. Next up is your note duration in milliseconds. So I will go ahead and set that to 250, which is half of our metronome. And so if you see here, we have 0 to 60, 1 to 67, and then input if input doesn't match, which we don't need to worry about. So we'll have both of those going into our make note object. And our last object is what allows us to hear it, which is our note out object that gives us that sound. This one's fairly simple. We just want to make sure that our pitch output is going into pitch, and our velocity output is going into velocity. And if we turn this on, we should be hearing a randomization between C and G. So it's fairly simple. And of course we can add on however many notes we want to. So let's say if we wanted a random 9, no, not 9. 9 is way too many. C, E, G, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What if we did random 5? Which means we would go 1, 0 through 4. See, we already have C and G. Why don't we add on E? And of course we can go back and line all this up later. E, G, C, D, E. Ah, there we go. 64 is E, not E flat. 67, and 4 up from there would be 71 to make B. Oh, there we go. There we go. And last, let's do, let's say 74, which I believe is D. So, alright, so we have our major 9 chord, which is what that project 1 was based off of. So if we turn this on, it should be randomized between these 5 notes of the chord. Alright, there we go. Now what we can do is first we'll make this a little cleaner. There. Of course it wants to line up everything in the wrong spacing. That's fine. We'll move everything down a little bit, just like how we have it up here. Next, what we can do is randomize the note lengths. So we can do this by using our metronome object again. That was the wrong button. There we go, metronome. And we want to make sure this matches up with our original metronome. So we're going to go 500. So that bangs are sent every 500 milliseconds or half second. We can set up another randomization. Like for example, we'll go 3. And we'll go 500, which is our original value. 250, which is half of our original value. And 1000, which is double. So you can think of this as eighth note, quarter note, half note. And we can get all these lined up together. Oh, I forgot our select object. Excuse me. Let's get these out of the way. 0, 1, 2. Alright, there we go. Now we have that going to 0, 1, 2, and all going back into our metronome, which changes the output from here. So if we hit play, we should get a randomized note length and randomized note pitch. After we connect it. So there you have it. That's just a simple randomizer. Uh, and of course you can hook this up the way that I did with jitter, uh, which is a whole nother topic with Max MSP. That's the other half of what we have going on here. That you can get that output from the webcam into a randomizer. Of course, you would, instead of a toggle, you would have the whatever you wanted to create the random effect as the output. Yeah, so that is a simple MIDI randomizer, and you can also apply this to a frequency generator, so a sinusoidal oscillator, which is pretty cool. Yeah, that's just one really basic thing that you can do with Max in terms of creating randomization for electronic music. And of course, as Dr. Froelich mentioned, you could hook this up to a bunch of different programs in order to create really awesome randomizers, I think. So yeah, thank you guys very much. I look forward to watching all your projects, and I hope you enjoyed mine.